There's a singular moment in time suspended inside a song, a haunting, marching melody like a genie trapped in a lamp. With the simple push of a play button, that genie escapes, and disjointed guitar licks swirl around you, pulling you into a nostalgia that somehow feels personal, whether you lived through the 1960s or not.
The rabbit hole opens wide. You're falling in, and suddenly, you're in a wonderland, Grace Slick's Wonderland.
The birth of a psychedelic anthem. Before she was the face of Jefferson Airplane, Grace Slick sat at a battered red upright piano in her home. It was cheap, $50, and 8 to 10 keys were missing. But that didn't matter. Grace could hear the missing notes in her head.
In that quiet moment, she began weaving a melody unlike anything else. She had been listening to Miles Davis's sketches of Spain on repeat while on an acid trip. The hypnotic, Spanish-tinged rhythms got under her skin, and she combined them with the slow, deliberate build of Ravel's Boléro. She knew she wanted a song that started small, like a whisper, and rose to an overwhelming, crashing finale. A song that mimicked the build of a psychedelic trip. Calm and curious at first, then intense and consuming. The concept was born, White Rabbit. Following Alice down the hole from the very first line. One pill makes you larger, and one pill makes you small. Grace isn't just singing. She's guiding you. Each lyric is a breadcrumb trail leading you through Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland and through The Looking Glass. Stories laced with surreal characters, shifting realities, and cryptic lessons. The hookah-smoking caterpillar, the magic mushroom, the Red Queen shouting, "Off with her head." These aren't just whimsical fantasy elements. For Grace, they were metaphors for the psychedelic experience that defined the late 60s counterculture. The song narrates the trip step by step. The offering, the ingestion, the fall, the disorienting encounters, and finally, the overwhelming peak where logic and proportion have fallen sloppy dead. A message hidden in plain sight. Most people thought White Rabbit was just a drug song. But Grace Slick always insisted there was more. It was aimed at parents, those who told their kids to avoid drugs while reading them fairy tales full of drug references. Alice in Wonderland? Eat a mushroom, change your size. The Wizard of Oz? Pass out in a field of opium poppies and wake up in a magical city. Peter Pan? Sprinkle white dust on your head and you can fly. Grace saw the hypocrisy and called it out, disguising her message in the same allegorical language those stories used. "You've been reading his drug books forever," she said. White Rabbit was her way of flipping the script. A darker undertone yet, the song isn't just about psychedelic liberation. Some have interpreted it as a veiled commentary on the Vietnam War. The men on the chessboard could be generals ordering soldiers into battle. The call from the caterpillar could symbolize the military draft, a summons to a surreal, incomprehensible war zone. Grace never confirmed that interpretation, but she admitted the song was a little dark. Wonderland might be colorful, but it's not always safe. Like the 1960s themselves, it was a place of beauty, chaos, and danger. The Summer of Love and Beyond. When White Rabbit appeared on Jefferson Airplane's 1967 album Surrealistic Pillow, it became an anthem for the summer of love. From San Francisco's Haight-Ashbury to music festivals across the country, its marching rhythm and hypnotic imagery defined the era's experimentation and defiance. The song found new life in films like Platoon, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and The Matrix. Each time it plays, it reopens that portal, pulling listeners, whether boomers or Gen Z, back into Grace's psychedelic rabbit hole. 5 fascinating facts about White Rabbit. It was written before Jefferson Airplane. Grace wrote it while still with her old band, The Great Society. Spanish inspiration. The rhythm's Spanish feel comes from sketches of Spain and Boléro. Summer of Love anthem. Released in June 1967, it became the unofficial soundtrack of San Francisco's hippie movement. Composed while high on acid, Grace openly said the song's concept came during an LSD trip. Structured like a trip, it starts quietly and builds to a euphoric peak, mirroring the arc of a psychedelic journey. The lasting magic of the White Rabbit. More than half a century later, White Rabbit remains one of the most powerful pieces of psychedelic rock ever recorded. It's a time capsule, a warning, a rebellion, and a masterpiece all at once. Every time you press play, you fall in again. And like Alice, you never come out quite the same. This has been the true story behind Jefferson Airplane's White Rabbit, the song that turned fairy tales into a psychedelic manifesto. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button, share this video with fellow rock fans, and subscribe to Rock Fame Diaries for more untold stories from the heart of rock history. Until next time, feed your head. God bless.